Okay, welcome back to the next video in the series. So we're going to make a start stripping down the outboard leg. So we're going to take this off, separate this, remove all the springs. This doesn't come out because it's pushed in on a irreversible clip, so that will have to remain, but other than that it should be okay. So we'll strip this out. Bit tight, this one. Should come undone now. I think this is seized on because I couldn't move it, I couldn't undo it. It's one bolt. Just knock that out of there. Well and truly bobbing into that hole. Can't get that out. That is going to be a heated up jobby, I think. Now there are a few rubber seals in here, so I'll give that a go with some WD as well. A bit of squirty never hurty. And hopefully a bit of heat just warms it up so the stuff can make its way through. Give it a go. Now I'm not too worried about this being bent out of shape because it's all corroded. We'll just make ourselves a new one on the lathe. So we'll just knock this out now. If I can, put that on there, turn it over, try twisting this. No, it's not going to twist out because it's a hole, so we'll just beat it out, I think, and then make a new one on the lathe. Not too worried about that. There we are, it's starting to go, look. I think that's ours. Knock it through. Yeah, the trick is that the punch is just slightly smaller than the hole. Straight through there like that, undo it. Oh, just be a bit tight. There's going to be a few seized ones on here looking at all the corrosion. That's going to make for an interesting tapping and threading session. I think this leg's going to need a bit of work. It might be 2 videos by the time I'm all said and done. Goodness me, these are very seized. Now I can tell these are seized because I can't get them out. And they should just whip undone, but they're not. Okay, so we're nearly there. That's the clamp out the way. So now left with the clip and the clamp. Shaft housing itself. So take those off. This should just undo. There we go. Short bolt that one. Put it over, do the other side. Okay, that clip should just come off now. Somehow. Should pull off there, but I doubt it will. There we are. Let's come off that side. Probably just unclips the side. There we are. That's that out the way, and the two springs as well. Don't want to be losing them. Now these 4 bolts here. It's fairly easy. And I think the next, these are quite long ones. It's fairly obvious which bolt goes where. You just poke a stick down the hole until it runs out of thread. Or if you really want to be anal about it, you put a bit of threaded bar down till it runs out. Mark it and pull it out again. That's a bit of, that's seized. That's a bit too much effort for just working out which ones go where. You can generally see I tend to poke a punch down the hole if I'm unsure, and count how many bolts I've got of a certain size. So this is coming apart quite readily now. Now in here is the clamp, which I suspect will be just a pin. I have to put something on that, it's a bit too forceful. A noisy, horrible ratchet, so... Oh, goodness me, that's seized. I think that might have just snapped. Yeah, that one snapped off. But as I said, it's not the end of the world that it snaps off. Okay, and this is what we got in here. You see it's not had a lot of grease over its lifetime. We just tap it off. And there's the clamp to clamp the whole thing together. Goes that way round, obviously. And then we've got the rubber joint down here, which comes off. So we've got those 3 things. Okay, so we've got this broken stud here, which we're going to take out now. To show you how to do that. You need a stud removing tool, one of these, and we just apply a little bit of heat. The aluminium expands quite rapidly. There's nothing in here to melt anymore, so we just apply a load of heat. We're not going to melt it too much. Both sides. Get the aluminium to expand as fast as we can without heating up the steel too much. Now, quite often I wouldn't bother with penetrating oil. It's not my favourite tool in the world, but I'll just put a little blob on here. The only problem is it cools down the aluminium, which makes it shrink again. And then we'll put this on. They're not the easiest things in the world to get to grip, these, and this is why I don't like putting the penetrating fluid on, because it loses its grip. There we go, it's lost its grip now. So we're struggling. There we are, we've got it. Oh, no, not quite. These are good, provided you can get them to grip. Not always the easiest thing in the world to do. And I don't think it's going to get a grip on that, so warm it up some more. There we go. Give it a bit more squirty. Don't really want to cool the aluminium down too much if I can help it. Get a good grip on that. And we'll see if it'll turn. Oh, it is moving, I think it's coming out. Bit of heat usually works wonders, especially on seized aluminium. There we go, and that's how you get seized bolts out of aluminium. Bit of heat, and occasionally good old brute force and ignorance. Wipe that grease off. Gets the muck everywhere. Wipe my tools down. Now you can see this is really badly corroded here, so I think the only option here is sandblasting, get all this corrosion off, and we'll take it over to the sandblaster and clean it up. it's all been shot blasted or clean. That took nearly all day. I haven't gone too mad up here because of the gasket surface, and this is made of plastic, so I've tried to stay away from that wherever possible. I'll have to give that a good clean and then get some grease in there. But other than that, it's looking really good. Just the rest of it to go now. It doesn't have to be particularly amazing, just as long as there's no big lumps of grease. The dust will clear that off and it will disappear. And it gets this corrosion out really well. The paint will seal the surface and make it smooth again. It's not too bad. Check there's no washers or anything in there that are going to end up knackered. I think it should be alright. We'll give that a clean and off we go. And just like that, a big pile of bits, all done. Now get them cleaned off and painted. Now you may have asked yourself why I'm restoring this outboard engine. Well, there's a very simple reason. I have a friend called Rob who's homeless, and in fact he's in a homeless hostel at the moment in Hinckley, but he has something in my yard, his old boat. Now his boat needs a lot of work, and this summer we're going to do that work. You may have seen it on other YouTube videos, various people going down the Stratford Canal. If you look at the Stratford Canal last year, sort of October, November time, September, October time, you'll have seen Rob's boat moored not very far from the centre of Stratford on the canal. And this outboard is for Rob. It's going to be a present. Because he's coming over at the end of April, beginning of March, beginning of May, sorry, not with it. And we're going to refit his boat. We're going to do it quite quickly, probably in about 2 weeks. So there'll be a series of videos on that. You'll get to meet Rob. He's a bit of a character. And we'll take it from May that Rob's going to be on the river. That's his little generator there. I made this. We're on the side of the river and we didn't have any way of charging his batteries, so I strapped an outboard and a lawnmower engine together because that was all I could lay my hands on at the time. But it needs a lot of work, this boat. It needs insulating, it needs lining, and it needs some electrics, so keep your eyes peeled because that's what we're going to be doing sort of April, May time. Okay, now so we're going to prime these parts, and we don't want anything fancy. We don't want a zinc primer because this is aluminium and it's going in the water, so really we just want a standard acrylic grey primer. Good rattle, I've been shaking it all morning, so it should be fine now. We'll move this up to the edge of the paper so it doesn't flap on our... And just give it a quick blast of paint. I'm not going to go crazy. So there we are. That's all the bits painted in primer. And I've even managed to leave a little label on this one so you can still see what engine it is. That's all the painted parts now painted. Oops, excuse the shadow. There we are, all cleaned up. I've just got a box of bits left to clean up and sort out, maybe buy some new bolts. Really struggle to get these projects done. So if you could subscribe and like, that helps me a lot, more than you possibly realise. So hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Come back and see the rest of the series. I've cleaned and dried this, so we'll see how it comes out. So I can just give it a really light coat, just enough so it gets to a gloss. Nothing amazing, nothing fancy, just rattle can acrylic. After all, we don't want to put any zinc on this, or I'd like epoxy but I can't afford it. Now you may notice that this table isn't exactly clean, and I've put it on a piece of paper. Now I've got a couple of little tricks that I've done to this piece of paper to stop any rubbish getting on the paper and onto my part. And if you look at the parts, it has come out absolutely perfect. no blemishes. This is its second coat now, and the colour is Peugeot Neptune Blue, simply because it's $4.99 a can, and the Yamaha paint for a similar sized can is £30, which would make it very expensive to do the whole engine. As I'm doing this for Rob as a present for free effectively, because he can't afford an engine, yeah, I need to keep costs down. Now I've got a little bit of a run on one corner, so we'll just get a bit of masking tape and just dab that like that. And magically it disappears. There we go. Now we can see that the blue is a bit of a brighter blue, much nicer in my opinion, but it's come out beautiful and glossy, and that has come out lovely, that really has, like a sheet of glass. But I've run out of paint now, so I'll have to go and get some more. But I like the colour, it's a nice bright crisp blue, the metallics come out good, not bad for a rattle can finish, and that means that we can keep the costs down for that. So what I'm doing here is making little jewelled bolts for the engine, because I've decided that, having spent so much time and effort on it, it really would be nice to have some decent bolts to put on the thing. So we'll just face it off slightly. Take all these letters off. There we go. And that should be a nice bolt ready for flatting and polishing. And there we have it. Oops, there it is, got a nice face on it, a nice chamfer, like a jewel. The idea being that we just make them look a little bit prettier. And that is the result of some of the other ones I've done for the engine. All nicely polished. And they should look good. There's a bit of grease on that one, it's not the best, but they just look like little jewels. And they make the engine look a lot nicer. Now you might be wondering how I get the parts to turn out quite as well as I do, painting on this scabby table that looks like it's covered in dust and all sorts. Well, the trick is spray glue. A quick blast with that all over the table, doesn't have to be clean, it seals everything in, and anything that does blow into the area just gets stuck to it, and then in an hour or two it gets hard and you don't really have any trouble. You just have to apply another layer before you do the next coat of paint. Okay, so we'll start putting the engine together now. So this has to go that way round or it'll foul there, so pop that in, pop it up. The two little lugs go in the two little lugs. Those hold the spring in, and then screw in a washer using nice stainless slotted screws for this. Simply because I think they look nice and they're lower profile, so they'll fit quite nicely. And the second one, just pop that in there. Okay, right, now this onto here, so slide that in there like so, slide that up there. Now we want a washer in here with the bolt, slide the bolt through. There we go. Now that one in there. There we are. And that's that situated in there nicely. One with the washer, one with the nut, and do it up. And that's the first part of the leg built. It should, in theory, go up and down. Just slacken that off slightly, just so it doesn't have too much tension on it. There we are, that works. There we are. And the piece de resistance. Little rubber end on there. There we are. Job's a good one. Right, on with the rubber caps. One at the bottom, one at the top. Maybe that way around. So now it's time to attach the leg to the clamp. Now I've greased those. And I've just used, grab it, multi-purpose marine grease. It's white, if anyone was interested. Probably not, but there we go. So that's been greased. Now we'll pop in the clamp. Now the clamp just needs a tiny bit of grease on the inside, not much, just a smear, just to stop any corrosion. It shouldn't be too greasy, and it will get greased anyway when you grease the nipple, and that just slots in there like that. But we have to do it on the leg. We just slide it in there like so. And that just slides in there like so. No major biggies. Pop the clamp in place, bit of a pig, but it does go in. There we are. And that's the clamp in place. All held in with grease. Okay, now we put on this, and that little loop has that pin in it. So if you locate the pin first, it should locate the rest of it. There we are, and we can just pop the four bolts in the top, to hold it in place. Now, I've forgotten washers, so I'm going to go and get some washers. Just do these up, opposites first. Just do that up gently, only nipping it up, not doing it up tight. Just gently until it starts to close the clamp. Okay, there's one started to close. Do the bottom opposite corner now. That's started to close. Now we can undo these. Put washers on them. I didn't put washers on before, very naughty of me. Do that one up. Take this one off. Put a washer on. These are all stainless, A4 stainless. Ideally I'd use Duralac, but what I've done is just stuck a little bit of CT1 down the holes. It just prevents electrolytic action and corrosion and all sorts of other things. I'm sure there are loads of people out there tell me exactly how it corrodes, but one of the things stainless likes is a lack of oxygen, among other things. Strangely enough, you get something called crevice corrosion in stainless with a lack of oxygen, where you get nothing on the surface and then underneath it rots away. Just slowly work our way around this. Okay, and that's that on there. Check that the friction clamp works. Do it up a bit. There we are, that works. Okay. There we are, that all works. And you can see the grease oozing out down here. That's a good sign. Okay. Okay, just the clamp to fit now. The lock for the reverse. So that spring goes on there. That goes that way around. Clips onto that. This is always easier said than done. One side. Now this is always a bit of a pig. You have to undo this side, slide that on, put that in there, clamp that on. Job's a good one. Right, now it's time for the little bolts. I cleaned off, look, washer on there. There we are, goes in there, no troubles at all. I have put some sealant in that hole so it's going to take up the slack lovely. There we are, one. And two. And there we are, that's the leg reassembled. All we have to do now is pump a load of grease in there till it squirts out top and the bottom, and we know it's done. So there we go, all done for the leg. Join us next week where we'll start assembling the base plate and the engine and looking at getting the crank fixed. Maybe we'll have to do the crank first, but I'd like to get the base plate fixed if I could. And don't forget, the 1st of April we're going to be doing our monthly giveaway, so set of spanners this week. Get over to our Patreon page, Patreon/Smiths Marine. So as I've said before, this outboard project is for a friend of mine called Rob, who's currently homeless, going to be living on his boat, which we're basically converting an empty shell. It's got to be cheap, it's got to be affordable, so I'm doing this for him as a bit of a treat. And if you want to help with the project, so subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit that like, hit that subscribe, don't miss any of the videos, and that'll give you all the little short videos we do as we go through the week as well. So see you soon.